Hi guys, welcome to my Study Compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through Math P3, the specimen paper for exams from 2020. Let's get started. The table shows parts of a bus timetable. Yana leaves home at 10:50. She takes 14 minutes to walk to the bus stop at City Gate. At what time does she reach the bus stop? All we need to do here is add 14 minutes to 10:50. Under the minutes column, 50 plus 14 is 64. 60 minutes is 1 hour, so we add 1 to the hour column and leave the remaining 4 minutes under the minutes column. In the hour column, 10 plus 1 is 11, and so Yana reaches the bus stop at 11:04. She gets on the next bus at City Gate and travels to Kingswood Park. At what time does this bus arrive at Kingswood Park? If Anna gets to the City Gate bus stop at 11:04, then it means she catches the 11:12 bus, and so she arrives at Kingswood Park at 11:50. Work out how many minutes the bus takes to get from City Gate to Kingswood Park. To get the time duration, we subtract the departure time from City Gate, which is 11:12, from the arrival time at Kingswood Park, which is 11:50. Under the minutes column, 50 minus 12 is 38, and under the hour column, 11 minus 11 is 0, and so the time duration is 38 minutes. Ivan walks 1.5 kilometers from his home to Kingswood Park. He takes 20 minutes. Work out Ivan's average speed in kilometers per hour. Here is the formula for calculating average speed. And so Ivan's average speed is equal to 1.5 kilometers divided by 20 minutes. We divided 20 by 60 to convert it to hours. This gives us 4.5 kilometers per hour. The scale drawing shows a map of Kingswood Park. There are 2 straight paths and 1 circular path. The scale is 1 centimeter, represents 200 meters. Yana walks along the straight path from East Gate to West Gate. Work out the distance she walks. Give your answer in kilometers. Using a ruler, we measure the distance from the East Gate to the West Gate. We get 11 centimeters. The scale is 1 centimeter to 200 meters. So now we want to find the equivalent of 11 centimeters. From this setup, we can cross multiply to find x. This gives us x equals 11 centimeters divided by 1 centimeter times 200 meters, which is equal to 2,200 meters. To convert 2,200 meters to kilometers, we divide by 1,000. This gives us 2.2 kilometers. Measure the bearing of South Gate from North Gate. Since we are measuring the bearing from the North Gate, we go to the North Gate and use a protractor to measure the angle from the north of the North Gate to the South Gate. This gives us 150 degrees. The entrance P to a children's play area is 500 meters from North Gate on a bearing of 195 degrees. Mark the position P on the map. First, let's get the bearing by measuring 195 degrees from the north of the North Gate. Since we've already measured 150 degrees from the north to the South Gate, we can measure and mark an additional 45 degrees from the South Gate. Using the scale, 500 meters should be equal to 2.5 centimeters on the map. So we measure 2.5 centimeters from the North Gate on this line. We label this point as P. Ivan runs once around the circular path. Calculate the distance Ivan runs. This is the formula for the distance of a circular path, where d is the diameter of the circular path. When we measure the diameter of the circular path on the map, we get 6 centimeters. Pi times 6 centimeters is 6 pi centimeters. From the scale, 1 centimeter is 200 meters. So we multiply 6 pi by 200. When we type this into the calculator, we get 3,770 meters, rounded to 3 significant figures. The diagram shows 5 number cards. Put 2 cards side by side to show a 2-digit number that is a multiple of 7. Here are the first few multiples of 7. We want a 2-digit number from the list that can be formed with the number deck we've been given, and so we go with 21. Put 2 cards side by side to show a 2-digit square number. Here is a list of square numbers. We want a 2-digit number from this list that can be formed with the number deck we've been given, and so we go with 16. Put 2 cards side by side to show a 2-digit cube number. Here is a list of cube numbers. We want a 2-digit number from this list that can be formed with the number deck we've been given, and so we go with 27. Put 2 cards side by side to show a 2-digit prime number. Here is a list of prime numbers. We want a 2-digit number from this list that can be formed with the number deck we've been given, and so we go with 17. Insert 1 pair of brackets into this statement to make it correct. To make the statement correct, we put a pair of brackets around 5 minus 2 plus 3. 5 minus 2 plus 3 is 6, and so 7 times 6 is equal to 42, which is the number we have on the right-hand side of the equation. Write 60 as a product of its prime factors. 60 can be written as 2 times 30. 2 is a prime number, so we circle it. 30 can be written as 2 times 15. 2 is a prime number, and so we circle it. 15 can be written as 3 times 5. 3 and 5 are both prime numbers, so we circle them. And so if we want to express 60 as a product of its prime factors, that is equal to 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Find the lowest common multiple of 36 and 60. First, we list the multiples of 36. Then we list the multiples of 60. From the two lists, we see that 180 is the lowest common multiple for 36 and 60. Find the value of cube root of 0.729. All we need to do is type this into the calculator. This gives us 0.9. Joel spins a fair 5-sided spinner numbered 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on an odd number. This probability is equal to the number of odd numbers, which is 2, divided by the total number of numbers, which is 5. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on a prime number. This probability is equal to the number of prime numbers, which is 3, divided by the total number of numbers, which is 5. Write down the probability that the spinner lands on the number 7. There is no number equal to 7 on the spinner, so this probability is equal to 0 divided by 5, which is 0. The table shows the results of his first 20 spins. Write down the mode. The mode is the most recurring number. In other words, the number with the highest frequency. The highest frequency here is 6, and the number with this frequency is 4. Calculate the mean. The mean is equal to sigma f of x, which is the total sum of all the numbers, divided by sigma f, which is the total frequency for all the numbers. To get the total sum of all the numbers, we multiply each number by its frequency. So we have 2 times 3 plus 3 times 2 plus 4 times 6 plus 5 times 4 plus 6 times 5. And to get sigma f, we add up all the frequencies, which is equal to 20. When we type this into the calculator, we get 4.3. Joel wants to draw a pie chart to show the results in the table. Show that the sector angle for the number 2 is 54 degrees. To get the sector angle for the number 2, we divide the frequency for 2, which is 3, by the total sum of frequencies, which is 20, times 360 degrees, which is equal to 54 degrees. Find the sector angle for the number 6. This sector angle is equal to the frequency for the number 6, which is 5, divided by the total sum of frequencies, which is 20, times 360 degrees, which is equal to 90 degrees. Joel asks 30 students to guess the number that the spinner will land on next. This pie chart shows the results. The sector angle for the number 6 is 168 degrees. How many students guessed the number 6? The number of students who guessed the spinner lands on 6 is equal to the sector angle for the number 6, which is 168 degrees, divided by 360 degrees, times the total number of students, which is 30. This gives us 14. Find the percentage of the students who guessed a number less than 5. The number of students who guessed the spinner lands on a number less than 5 is equal to the sector angle for the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 divided by 360 degrees times 100%. Using a protractor, we measure the sector angle for the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the pie chart, which gives us 156 degrees. When we type this into the calculator, we get 43.3%, rounded to 3 significant figures. Joel spins the spinner. 10% of the students guessed correctly. Which number did the spinner land on? 10% of 360 degrees gives us 36 degrees. On the pie chart, the sector angle for the number of students who guessed the spinner lands on 5 is 36 degrees, and so our answer here will be 5. A farmer has 45 horses and 20 cows. Write this as a ratio of horses is to cows. Give your answer in its simplest form. The number of horses is to cows is 45 is to 20. 45 and 20 have a common factor, which is 5. 5 goes into 45 9 times and 5 goes into 20 4 times. And so the final answer here is 9 is to 4. The farmer wants the ratio of horses is to cows to equal 5 is to 3. He keeps his 45 horses and buys some more cows. Work out the number of cows he must buy. First, let's find the number of cows which would allow the farmer to keep the ratio of horses to cows at 5 is to 3. Let's call this number X. And so for this setup, we keep the ratio at 5 is to 3. If there are 45 horses, then X number of cows will be required. From this setup, we can cross multiply and make X the subject. This gives us X equals 45 over 5 times 3, which is equal to 27. So now we know that the farmer needs to have 27 cows. The farmer already has 20 cows. So if we subtract 20 from 27, the farmer needs to buy 7 more cows. 6 years ago, the farmer invested $3,750 at a rate of 4% per year compound interest. Calculate the total value of his investment after the 6 years. Give your answer correct to the nearest dollar. In this case, we need to apply the compound interest formula. Big A represents the final value of the investment, which is what we want to find. Small a represents the initial amount invested, which is $3,750. R is the annual rate, which is 4%, and T is the time duration in years for the investment, and that is 6. When we type this into the calculator, we get the final value of the investment as $4,744.946. We need to round this number to the nearest dollar. So we look at the number just before the decimal point, which is 4. The number after 4, which is 9, is greater than 5. So we add 1 to 4 and make all the numbers after 4 0. And so our final answer becomes $4,745 rounded to the nearest dollar. The farmer wants to spend his investment on buying goats. Goats cost $126 each. Work out the maximum number of goats he can buy and the amount of money left over. The number of goats the farmer can buy with his investment is equal to the value of his investment, which is $4,745 divided by the cost of a goat, which is $126. When we type this into the calculator, we get 37.65. This means the maximum number of goats the farmer can buy is 37. The farmer's remaining balance will be $4,745 minus the total cost of getting 37 goats, which is $126 times 37. This gives us $83. The farmer grows carrots. In 2018, the selling price for carrots was $96 per ton. In 2019, this selling price increased by 18%. Work out the increase in the selling price from 2018 to 2019. To get the increase in the selling price, we multiply 18%, which is the same as 18 over 100, by the old selling price, which is $96. This gives us $17.28. A sequence of patterns is made using lines and dots. The first 3 patterns in the sequence are shown below. Draw pattern 4 on the grid. When we look at the patterns, we see that the next pattern increases by 3 lines and 1 dot. And so for pattern 4, we first draw out pattern 3. Then we add 3 additional lines at the end with 1 dot at the top. Complete the table. For the number of dots, we see an increase by 1 in the number of dots for each pattern. And so for pattern 3, we add 1 to 3 to get 4. Then for pattern 4, we add 1 to 4 to get 5. For pattern 10, we add 1 to 10 to get 11. For the number of lines, we see an increase by 3 in the number of lines for each pattern. And so for pattern 3, we add 3 to 7 to get 10. Then for pattern 4, we add 3 to 10 to get 13. For pattern 10, we get 31. This is not very straightforward. We will get back to how to arrive at this number by answering part CI below. Find an expression in terms of n for the number of dots in pattern n. The number of dots has a constant difference of +1. There is a formula for finding the nth term of sequences with a constant difference, and you can use that. But this nth term is straightforward, and that is n+1. Find an expression in terms of n for the number of lines in pattern n. The number of lines has a constant difference of +3. Here is the formula for finding the nth term of sequences with a constant difference. A1 is the first term, which is 4. D is the common difference, which is 3. When we expand the brackets, 3 times n is 3n, and 3 times -1 is -3. 4 minus 3 is 1, and so our final answer is 3n plus 1. We can use this formula to get the number of lines in pattern 10 by substituting n equals 10 into 3n plus 1. This gives us 3 times 10 plus 1, which is equal to 31. A pattern has 76 lines. Work out how many dots are in this pattern. First, we need to find the pattern n, which has 76 lines. So we equate 3n plus 1 to 76. When we make n the subject, we get 25. So now we know pattern 25 produces 76 lines. And so to get the number of dots in pattern 25, we add 1 to 25, which gives us 26. Solve these equations. X plus 7 equals 15. When we subtract 7 from both sides of the equation, this is what we have. 15 minus 7 is 8. 5 times 3x plus 8 equals 10. When we expand the brackets, 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times 8 is 40. When we subtract 40 from both sides, this is what we get. When we divide both sides by 15, we get x equals -2. A club is arranging transport for its members. Speedy coaches charge $625 plus $15 per member. The total cost in dollars for X members is given by the expression 15X plus 625. Sporty coaches charge $117 plus $19 per member. Write an expression for the total cost in dollars for X members. The total cost for sporty coaches will be 19x plus 117. The total cost is the same for both speedy coaches and sporty coaches. Write down an equation and solve it to find x. We know that the total cost for speedy coaches is 15x plus 625, and we found the total cost for sporty coaches as 19x plus 117. From the question, these two costs are equal. So now we need to find the value of x. When we group like terms, this is what we get. When we divide both sides by 4, we get x equals 127. The line L is shown on the grid. Find the equation of the line in the form y equals mx plus c. We need to find the values of m and c for the equation of the line. To get the values of m and c, we need to know two sets of coordinates on the line. From the grid, we are picking the coordinates -216 and 06. By applying the gradient formula, we have m equals 16 minus 6 divided by -2 minus 0, which is equal to -5. We find the value of c by substituting the values of m and one set of xy coordinates into the equation. If we pick the coordinates 06, this is what we get. -5 times 0 is 0. So we have c equals 6. And so the equation of the line is y equals -5x plus 6. Complete the table of values for y equals x squared plus 2x plus 4. When we substitute x equals -1 into the given equation, we get y equals 3. And when we substitute x equals 2 into the equation, we get y equals 12. On the grid opposites, draw the graph of y equals x squared plus 2x plus 4 for x is greater than and equal to -2 and less than and equal to 3. On the grid, we plot all the points in the table: -2, 4, -1, 3, 0, 4, 1, 7, 2, 12, and 3, 19. When we are done, we draw a smooth line through the points. For x is greater than and equal to -2 and less than and equal to 3, write down the x coordinate of the point of intersection of the line L with the curve y equals x squared plus 2x plus 4. Here is the intersection point between the line and the curve. When we trace this point onto the x-axis, we get 0.25. Work out the value of x. All angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we have x plus 74 plus 71 equals 180. When we subtract the sum of 74 and 71 from 180, we get x equals 35. Work out the value of y. Since these two lines are parallel, these two angles are alternate angles. Alternate angles are equal. Angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, and so y plus x, which we found as 35 degrees, plus 71 degrees should add up to 180 degrees. When we subtract the sum of 35 and 71 from 180, we get y equals 74. Work out the value of w. Give reasons for your answer. Angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. And so when we subtract 128 degrees from 180 degrees, we get this angle as 52 degrees. Angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So we have w plus 52 degrees plus 85 degrees equals 180 degrees. When we subtract the sum of 85 degrees and 52 degrees from 180 degrees, we get w equals 43 degrees. Use trigonometry to calculate the value of p. Since we have a right-angled triangle in this case, we can apply SOHCAHTOA to find the value of p. So we have sin p equals the opposite, which is 8, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 15. When we make p the subject, we get sine inverse of 8 divided by 15. When we type this into the calculator, we get 32.2 degrees rounded to 1 decimal place. The diagram shows the path of a plane from airport A to airport B. Show that the distance between A and B is 375 kilometers. Looking at the diagram, we have a right-angled triangle with the distance AB as the hypotenuse, and so we can apply the Pythagoras theorem to find AB. This gives us AB squared equals 300 kilometers squared plus 225 kilometers squared. When we take square root of both sides of the equation, this is what we get. When we type this into the calculator, we get 375 kilometers. The plane flies at an average speed of 450 kilometers per hour. It leaves A at 14:45 and flies directly to B. Work out the time the plane arrives at B. We can find the time duration t of the flight by using this formula, where d is the distance traveled by the plane and v is the speed of the plane. D is 375 kilometers and v is 450 kilometers per hour. When we type this into the calculator, we get 5/6 hours. To convert this to minutes, we multiply by 60, which gives us 50 minutes. Now that we know the time duration for the flight, we add that to the departure time of the plane to find the time it arrived at its destination. In the minutes column, 45 plus 50 is 95. 60 minutes is 1 hour, so we carry over 1 hour to the hour column and leave the remaining 35 minutes in the minutes column. In the hour column, 14 plus 1 is 15, and so the plane's arrival time is 15:35. The diagram shows 4 shapes A, B, C, and D. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape B. When we look at shape A and shape B, they have the same lengths, but their orientation is different, which means the transformation is either a reflection or a rotation. When we rotate shape A 180 degrees, we get shape B. For a 180-degree rotation, we don't need to specify if it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, because either way, it's still the same. Now we need to find the center of rotation. To get the center of rotation, all we need to do is connect at least 2 corresponding points on both shapes and find their intersection points. When we do this, we get the center of rotation as 6, 7. And so the full description for the transformation is rotation 180 degrees about the center 6, 7. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape C. When we look at shape A and shape C, they have the same lengths, but their orientation is different, which means the transformation is either a reflection or a rotation. In this case, we see that shape C is a mirror image of shape A in the line x equals 1. And so the full description for the transformation will be reflection in the line x equals 1. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A onto shape D. When we look at shape A and shape D, they do not have the same lengths. Each of the side lengths in shape D is twice the side length in shape A. This means the transformation is an enlargement by a scale factor of 2. We have a positive scale factor for this enlargement because the two shapes have the same orientation. Now we need to find the center of enlargement. To get the center of enlargement, all we need to do is connect at least two corresponding points on both shapes and find their intersection point. When we do this, we get the center of enlargement as 6, 11. And so the full description for the transformation will be enlargement by a scale factor of 2 about the center 6, 11. On the grid, draw the image of shape A after a translation by the vector -3, 2. For this translation, the translation vector dictates that we move each of the vertices of shape A 3 units to the left and 5 units upwards. On the diagram, the movement for point D has been shown. After repeating the same process for all the other points as well, we are able to map out the translated image of shape A. Which shapes, if any, are congruent to shape D? Give a reason for your answer. Congruent shapes have the exact same shape and size, regardless whether they are flipped, rotated, or just oriented differently. Although all the shapes are the same, when we look at shape D, there is no other shape that has the exact size compared to it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.